What if I told you it's already over? The story you think you're living, the life you believe you're building, it's a sequel to a book that's already been burned. You exist in the epilogue of a world that doesn't know it's finished. It didn't end the way they told us it would. There were no explosions, no sudden collapse, no heroes, no villains, no warning. The world ended in whispers, in a slow, deliberate erasure of meaning, one day at a time, one choice at a time, until there was nothing left but echoes. Think about it. Do you remember the last time you truly felt alive? When you weren't just going through the motions, repeating routines, clinging to rituals that keep you distracted? Or are your memories starting to blur, blending into a single, endless gray haze? Look around you. The world you see is just an afterimage, a ghost of what was once real. Every morning you wake up to is yesterday's light. Every breath you take is recycled dreams. Every thought in your head is an echo of someone else's truth. We're living in the residual heat of a universe that's already gone cold. They say time is linear, that history moves forward like an arrow. But what if we're actually moving backward? What if every step we take toward the future is really just us retreating deeper into the past? The smartphones in our pockets, the satellites in our skies, the dreams in our heads, they're all artifacts of a civilization that peaked when we weren't looking. Remember when we used to look up at the stars and feel small? Now we look down at screens and feel nothing at all. We've traded infinity for infinity scroll. We've replaced the mystery of existence with the certainty of algorithms. We've exchanged the unknown for the unknowing. They say the apocalypse is fire and ash, chaos and destruction. But the real apocalypse was much quieter. It came with convenience, with comfort, with the promises of endless progress. It came when we traded purpose for distraction, connection for illusion, life for survival. We didn't notice the forest vanishing, the oceans dying, the skies growing heavy with smoke. Not because we didn't care, but because we weren't looking. We were too busy staring at reflections of ourselves, shiny, curated, perfect, and we called it reality. But here's the twisted part. Maybe it was always like this. Maybe every civilization before us reached this same point, this exact moment where reality becomes too heavy to hold, where truth becomes indistinguishable from fiction, where the end becomes indistinguishable from the beginning. Have you noticed how your memories don't feel quite real anymore? How the past seems to shift and change every time you look at it? That's because it's not your past you're remembering. It's the future's idea of what your past should have been. We're living in a time where nostalgia is manufactured before the moment even ends. The truth is, the world didn't need to explode to end. It just needed us to stop paying attention. And we did. We stopped feeling the ground beneath our feet. We stopped tasting the air we breathe. We stopped hearing the silence between thoughts. We became tourists in our own existence. But now you're here. You're listening. That means something, doesn't it? Maybe you felt it too. That strange pull in the back of your mind, like a thread unraveling, like you're walking through a dream that doesn't belong to you. Maybe you've wondered if this is all there is, if this endless cycle of work, consumption, and distraction is really what we were meant for. What if I told you that consciousness itself is just an elaborate coping mechanism, a story we tell ourselves to make sense of an ending that's already happened? Every thought you think is just a ripple from that original collapse, echoing through the hollow spaces where reality used to be. The irony is perfect, isn't it? We spent centuries building machines to think for us, only to become machines ourselves. We created artificial intelligence while slowly losing our own. We reached for the stars while forgetting how to reach for each other. We conquered time and space, only to find ourselves nowhere and no one. What if I told you there's something else? That beyond the screens, beyond the noise, beyond the illusion, there's still a world waiting? A world that remembers what we've forgotten. A world that's been holding its breath, waiting for you to notice it. It's in the spaces between your thoughts, in the silence between your heartbeats, in the darkness behind your closed eyes. The end of the world wasn't the end of everything. It was the end of what we thought was real. And now, in the ruins of that illusion, there's a choice to be made. You can keep living in the shadow, pretending the lie is enough. Or you can wake up. Wake up to the cracks in the facade. Wake up to the emptiness in the noise. Wake up to the fact that everything you thought you knew might not be true. Wake up to the possibility that endings aren't always final, because endings are just beginnings we haven't named yet. And the world, it's still here, isn't it? Beneath the layers of decay and distraction, it's still breathing, waiting, hoping you'll remember how to see it, how to feel it, how to live in it again. But here's the real question. If the world has already ended, what are we still doing here? Maybe we're not the survivors of the apocalypse. Maybe we're its ghosts. Maybe we're just memories playing themselves out in the cosmic equivalent of muscle memory. Maybe consciousness itself is just the universe's way of processing its own end. The world has already ended, but you haven't, and that changes everything. You are both the observer and the observed, the ending and the epilogue, the question and the answer. You are what remains when everything else has been stripped away. So I'll ask you one last time. Will you keep pretending, or will you wake up? Because in a world that's already ended, the only real choice left is what to do with the echoes. The truth is, we're not living in the end times. We're living in what comes after, and maybe that's where the real story begins.